out of breath, mood swings, my C-section date, baby name. Hello, and what? Out of breath, mood swings, my C-section date, baby name. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kimberly. I am married to my college sweetheart, and we have two little girls, a 5-year-old named Alyssa, a 2-year-old named Aaliyah, and we are expecting baby number 3, which is our first baby boy, and we are thrilled, over the moon, and excited to complete our family and welcome a baby boy. So that is what we are talking about today, all things baby boy in week 29 to week 31 of pregnancy. This is actually the second time that I tried filming this, because the first time when I went to edit, my camera was completely out of focus the entire video, and I had to like scrap it. There was no way of fixing it. So today I am actually 33 weeks and 1 day. So I didn't have time to film it again any sooner because there's just a lot going on, but we are a little backtracked. But let's get into talking about week 29 to week 31. It has been quite rough, but quite exciting. I had a very exciting doctor's appointment during week 29 and 31. We started talking about my C-section date, and that's gonna get scheduled here pretty soon, which is super exciting because once you get a C-section date, it's like go time, it is show time, and time just seems to be moving quite quick this pregnancy. With the girls, it went really slow and it was kind of dreadful. This time, it just seems to be going quite quick. And so hopefully soon I will have a C-section date and things are just gonna fly by. I think I should have one this week, which is really, really exciting. This is my 3rd C-section. I had an emergency one with Alyssa, which is my oldest. And then I opted to have a C-section my 2nd time, and then I am opting to have a C-section this time again, mainly because my body was so stressed out. I was in labor for 26 hours with Alyssa, and then they had to roll me into an emergency C-section. I know what contractions feel like. I know what laboring is like, because I actually reached 9.5 centimeters with Alyssa and stayed there for like 2 or 3 hours before they rolled me into an emergency C-section because they were losing her heart rate and my blood pressure was up. So to avoid that scary experience, I have opted to have a C-section the 2nd time and now the 3rd time. But I do love my doctor this time around. I loved my doctor with Alyssa as well, with Aaliyah, which is my 2nd born. And I actually love my doctor even more this time. So I'm excited. It'll be a good experience. I know it will be. It's going to be different because of COVID, but other than that, that's like the only nerve-breaking thing that my experience towards COVID, because I don't know what the hospital looks like. I have gone into the hospital, but that's because I had a miscarriage last year in February of 2020. And so I had to go in, but I don't know what the labor and delivery room or labor and delivery section of the hospital looks like, because they do your D&C at a different part of the hospital. So, and my current doctor is the one that did my D&C. So it's just been a different experience, and I'm enjoying the experience this time more than any other time. Also, so we spoke about my C-section day and getting that scheduled. And then as far as feeling wise, I'm very, very moody. We're talking about week 29 to 31. So my moodiness started week 29 to 31, like completely moody. And I can tell, I would be able to tell in myself, like I was happy in one moment and I was like, ha 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 ha. And then immediately Anthony or the girls would say something and I was like, why? Like, why? And it could have been just like joking around, nothing serious. It was just like a flip in the switch. And sometimes I can be like, whoa, Kimberly. Other times there's like, it just happens and, you know, my moodiness comes out. So I don't think I've been super moody my entire pregnancy, but definitely week 29 to 31 it began, and it's still going on, but we'll talk about that in my next update. And you know, that is normal. It's hormones. I'm tired, I'm exhausted all the time, and sometimes mood swings happen. Another thing is that I go through a phase where I hate Anthony. Hate is a strong word. I dislike Anthony, and it happens every pregnancy. I disliked Anthony most of my pregnancy with Alyssa, and it was because we were young, we were in college. It was a really, really rough patch, and so we pushed through, thankfully. Baby number 2, I disliked him, but just, it was like certain moments. It wasn't like a whole pregnancy like with Alyssa. It was just certain moments. And this time I went through that for like maybe a week and a half. I disliked him. Like anything he said would bother me or rub me the wrong way. Just looking at him, watch sports rubbed me the wrong way. I even looked at him at dinner one time and I was like, this baby is gonna look just like you. And he was like, why? Because you don't like me? And I was like, yes. And now I'm just like obsessed with him. You know, it was just like a 1 week thing. And I think it's part of my mood swings. I dislike him and I just looking at him is like, ugh. And then the next second, I just want him to hug me and kiss me and love on me. And it's just, again, hormones. So if you are feeling like you don't like your spouse, I think that's normal. It's not abnormal. It's just your hormones. And they say when you dislike your spouse, they look like that person. And that's why Alyssa looks so much like him and Aaliyah does not. I mean, Aaliyah depends on the person you speak to. I've been told she looks like him. I've been told she looks like me. But with Alyssa, it's like everyone's like, she is a replica of Anthony. And I'm like, great. Great. Anthony and I were actually talking the other day on who baby boy was going to look like. I'm like, I'm hoping he looks like me. I just want someone to look like me. I go through the sickness, the tiredness, the out of breath, the exhaustion, the planning. I go through everything. The surgery to deliver him, the recovery. Can someone look like me? 9 months. I just want someone to look like me. So I am hoping that baby boy will look a tad bit like mama. Just a tad bit. So we talked my mood swings, my C-section date, my energy. So my energy fluctuates. It fluctuates depending on the day, and I really have to be in routine. Like when I wake up, the first thing I do is take a shower and get myself together. If I do not get myself together, I feel more tired than when I do get myself together, which is weird in a sense. But I feel like I never got my energy back in the second trimester with baby boy, and I don't know why. This pregnancy has definitely been a lot more rough than any other pregnancy, and I honestly cannot tell you why. They say baby boys do that to you, but I also thought baby girls do that to you. And so with the girls, I had morning sickness up until about 25 weeks. Then my energy came back and I was okay. This time I had morning sickness up about to 27 weeks. I mean, we're doing an update on 29 to 31. So I literally just finished having morning sickness because I am 33 weeks today. So it hasn't even been a full 10 weeks without morning sickness. And I don't know, I guess this baby boy has definitely been rough on mama. I don't know why. My mom said that one of my brothers is probably the easiest on her, and I can't, I don't know. I do not know. But we're almost at the end and he's almost here, so it is a-okay. And then what else did I want to talk about? I am going to talk about my anxiety because I do get a lot of questions on how my anxiety is after a miscarriage. So I am going to talk about that towards the end of this video. But out of breath, mood swings, my C-section date. baby name. We do have a baby name. I'm not gonna share it quite yet, not because I'm trying to hide it or anything, but mainly because I hate the feedback on names. I hate when someone tells you a name and you're like, oh, I don't like it. I really didn't ask if you liked it or not. I'm just telling you what I'm naming my child. And that goes really for everybody, family, friends, people that you don't know. You know, it doesn't really matter. So this time around, we kind of just kept the name quite quietly. We've only told friends and family, or family and friends. And, you know, we told them, or at least I told them, if you don't like it, don't tell me. You know, it's just, it is what it is. So if you followed me on Instagram, or you followed me on Instagram before I got pregnant, after the miscarriage, or when I first got pregnant and had a miscarriage, I talked about if we had a boy, I would name him something that started with the letter K, because of me. The girls, if you're new here, the girl's name starts with an A because of Anthony. So we have Alyssa and Aaliyah. And then Alyssa, which is our firstborn, as much as I hated the guy, I gave her the same initials that Anthony has. So they have the same ASG initials for their names. Aaliyah has an A for her first name and a C for my middle name. And that's just the way that I chose. I wanted to name her Kai, but she was a girl, so I just opted to name her Aaliyah. I actually did not opt to name her Aaliyah. Anthony changed her name in the middle of our anatomy scan. Her name was going to be Kaylin, because of me, Mama, Kaylin. And her name was going to be Kaylin Kai. And he looked at me at the anatomy scan and he was like, what about Aaliyah? And I was like, no. And he was like, come on. And I was like, fine. And so the name grew on me. I love it now. But initially I did not that I did not like it. I just wasn't a fan of the name Aaliyah. My heart was set on Kaylin. So now she's Aaliyah Kai, or she's been that since she was born. And baby boy was supposed to have KCG initials because of me. And G meaning that I would be married by the time that I had a boy. So I am now married. I have my husband's last name. And so it would be the perfect time to name my baby boy KCG. So his name was set. There was no changing it. And then I was watching TV with Anthony and a name popped up and I was like, I like that name. It does not start with K at all. And I was like, I like that name. Let's name him that. And he was like, I'm down. And I was like, okay. So all we did was move his name over. So he still has the KCG name. He just has a name before that. So he has two middle names, a first name, two middle names, and then Galen as his last name. So that is what we did for his name as far as name goes. And I am going to do a 10 baby names we love but won't use for girl and boy because we're not having any more babies. So any name that I did love, I'm not using anymore. So I am going to share that in a couple of videos coming up. I am going to share the list of baby names that we have loved but did not use. Mainly more I loved and didn't get to use than Anthony. He was pretty set on certain names. So that is that. And then I think as far as like updating how I feel, that's about it for the week 29 to 31 week. There is more that's going to come in my 31 to 33 week update that I'll give you guys some more feelings and what I'm going through right now because it is definitely a little tougher. And I think that it's because we are gearing up to the end, you know? He is ready to meet his family as much as we are ready to meet him. So let's talk anxiety. Anxiety because I had a miscarriage a couple of months before I got pregnant, and how do I feel? So I kind of have not talked about this a lot, mainly because I try to be positive. I hear Sissy. 1 second. I thought I heard her, but I guess she was just like rolling around. She went back to sleep. We were talking about my anxiety. It's something that I try and stay positive about, so I don't talk about it too much, because the more you worry about things, the more anxiety it creates. And I battle with anxiety on a daily basis, and so I try not to overthink the situation, even though I'm just an overthinker. So my main concern is his movement. I count his every move as much as I can, and not literally like count, but I'm like, is he moving? When did he move last? Has he moved in the last hour? Has he this? Has he that? And so when I feel like I haven't felt him in a while, I will lay down. Doctor recommended laying down for an hour to an hour and a half if I feel like he hasn't moved. And then if he doesn't move consistently within that hour and a half, to give them a call. But he has always moved pretty consistently within that hour and a half, and so I've never had to call and see what's going on. And so that is the nerve-wracking part, especially now towards the end, because the closer you get to pregnancy, the less room he has. And so he stops moving so much, and I'm just a nervous, wreck. Some days he has days where he's moving from the moment he wakes up to the moment I go to sleep, and there's like no stopping him. And then there's days where I feel like he's just sleeping, and I'm like, great, you sleep more than me, dude. And so on the days that he's sleeping, I do wake him up. I'll lay down, I tap myself, I tickle my belly, I will drink some ice cold water, I drink something sugary, anything that's gonna get him up and moving and assure me that he is a-okay in there. And so that is the most nerve-wracking thing. I've also took it a lot easier towards the beginning. With the girls, I've always been pretty active, and right now I am pretty active. And I always say by active, I don't mean I'm like running a marathon, walking, none of that. By active, I mean like I'm up and going in my own home. I'm not laying on my couch, I'm not sitting much, I'm like up and going. I don't like to feel lazy. And so at the beginning, I was feeling really lazy, because I didn't want anything to go wrong, and I was worried about every move I made and everything I did. And this time I'm just like, this phase, I'm just like, I have to kind of live my life a little bit, just a little bit, so that I don't dig myself into a deep hole, especially already with everything going on, the mental health and not being able to go out much and all the things. And so we're home pretty much Monday through Friday. And I like to be active in my own home. I like to play with my kids. I like to carry my kids. That is just who I am. And so that is the main thing, and you just worry about every single little thing. And I feel like it's normal, especially after a miscarriage or after infertility. I've never dealt with infertility, but it's normal as a first-time mom, it is normal to worry about your baby's health in any way, shape, or form. And so I try just to take it easy, one day at a time, and we're gonna make it to the end, and he's gonna be a-okay. That's what I tell myself all the time, on top of different pregnancy, different outcome. That's the only thing I can tell myself that is going to keep me going, other than staying as positive as I can, and that keeps me going. So that is all for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.